Exorcisms are on the rise in the United States. At least this appears to be happening according to a new article in The Atlantic by the journalist Mike Mariani. Mariani interviewed the top exorcist for the Archdiocese of Indianapolis, Vincent Lampert, who said that he has received over 1,700 requests for exorcisms in 2018. More than he's ever received in his whole career. In an interview with the Boston public radio station WBUR, Lampert said that early on in his career, he might receive about 5 requests for an exorcism per week, but by 2017, he was receiving 30 requests per week. Other Catholic priests in America have corroborated this according to the article, saying that without the help of their staff members, their exorcism duties would swallow up their entire schedule. Outside of the US, requests for exorcisms have also spiked. According to one Sicilian Catholic priest and exorcist, there are 500,000 requests for exorcisms in Italy each year, which would mean 1 out of 120 Italians are possessed. And they seem to have spiked in the United Kingdom as well, according to a Christian think tank called Theos. So what's going on here? Are exorcisms actually rising in the first place? And if so, why? I've enlisted the help of the religion scholar Dr. Jason-Josephson-Storm to talk through possibilities. So after this video, head on over to my interview with him, link is in the description below. But first, some background information. The Catholic Church's official stance is that demons and the devil are quite real. Pope Francis himself made this very clear in a recent speech. It is precisely the conviction that this malign power is present in our midst that enables us to understand how evil can at times have so much destructive force. We should not think of the devil as a myth, a representation, a symbol, a figure of speech, or an idea. Because they view demons and demonic possession as very real threats, the Catholic Church takes exorcism very seriously. Their approach differs somewhat from other Christian denominations. So, for example, in many Protestant denominations, exorcists are generally self-taught freelancers, such as the YouTuber exorcist Bob Larson, who sometimes offers exorcism over Skype. The Catholic Church rather has an official rank of ordained exorcists. The Vatican even holds a yearly course on demonology. The 2018 cohort had about 250 priests in attendance. They must also follow an official and fairly lengthy rite of exorcism, which consists of a prayer called the Litany of the Saints, a few scripture passages, and a direct command to the demon to depart from the person. They are also trained to use exorcism as a last resort. All requests for exorcism must first undergo a thorough psychiatric evaluation before the priest even considers doing an exorcism. According to the journalist Mariani, this is where the vast majority of cases end, as many of the individuals claiming possession are found to be suffering from psychiatric issues such as schizophrenia or a dissociative disorder, or to have recently gone off psychotropic medication. Now, it's important to say here that psychologists have demonstrated that people claiming to be possessed by demons frequently exhibit similar symptoms to dissociative personality disorders. One study, which relies on a series of interviews conducted on Pentecostal Christians, found that the experiences of demonic possession reported by our informants were strikingly similar in form to psychotic symptoms defined in the DSM-5. Our informants describe experiences of a distinct loss of control during the possession, similar to descriptions of experience of passivity associated with schizophrenia. Because of this known association between schizophrenia and reports of demonic possession, Catholic priests will not proceed to exorcism until the person has been evaluated by a mental health professional. But when the priest determines that the symptoms are indeed demonic, he will proceed with the exorcism. So now that we have the background information, we can ask, why the increase in requests for exorcisms? Well, maybe it's better to first ask, is this increase even happening? Because as far as I can tell, the data that this journalist is relying on is not coming from peer-reviewed studies by sociologists and psychologists. It seems to be coming from interviews with Catholic priests, which is anecdotal evidence. The same goes with this reported 500,000 requests for exorcisms per year in Italy. This appears to be the anecdotal report from one Catholic priest. Moreover, the Catholic Church does not keep official records on exorcisms. So that's worth flagging before we proceed to any possible explanations. I don't think that this phenomenon has been adequately proven, But let's give the Catholic priests the benefit of the doubt, because they have been reporting more requests and they've been responding as if that's true. According to the article, in 2011, the US had fewer than 15 known Catholic exorcists. Today, they're well over 100, so they've been staffing up. When I first read this article, I wanted some extra help because this is outside of my own expertise, so I tweeted at Dr. Jason-Josephson-Storm, a scholar of religion and the author of the book The Myth of Disenchantment, where he argues that society today is still very much interested in ghosts, demons, the occult, even though we think of ourselves as living in a disenchanted age because of the progress of science. He was kind enough to chat with me in an interview and float several possible explanations. Number one, the increased visibility of exorcism in pop culture, starting with The Exorcist in 1973. It's hard to understate how influential this movie was. It influenced an entire generation's conception of what demonic possession looks like and how exorcism is carried out. And this has continued into contemporary media. And considering how much we view reality through the lens of pop culture, it makes sense that many people think about demons and try to envision demonic possession based on what they see in movies, video games, and television. The author of the article had a similar explanation, theorizing that this increase in exorcisms is occurring alongside a general increase in fascination about the occult and rising belief in the devil. Between 1990 and 2007, belief in the devil rose from 55% to 70% according to a Gallup poll, and a YouGov poll from 2013 showed that 85% believe in the devil. It's possible that because greater segments of the population appear to be believing in these beings, they might be attributing their own experiences to demonic activity. Another explanation, changes in theology or changes in the religious marketplace resulting in more people offering exorcisms. Here we can think specifically about Pentecostal Christianity, a type of Christianity that's very interested in the spiritual realm and miraculous spiritual gifts like speaking in tongues and exorcism. Pentecostal Christianity is the fastest growing type of Christianity in the world and has had a huge influence on Catholicism. In fact, many Catholics, especially in the global south, would probably be categorized as Pentecostal. So it's possible that the rising rates of requests for exorcism might be rising in tandem with the general rise in Pentecostal Christianity around the world. Number three, changing needs that exorcisms are now meeting, specifically the difficulty of receiving mental health treatment in the United States. Now, going back to the studies that I referenced earlier, people who claim to be possessed by demons frequently exhibit the same symptoms as dissociative personality disorders. But I couldn't really find a correlation in the rise of these two phenomena. I did find several studies that suggest mental health issues like depression and anxiety are on the rise, but I wasn't able to find conclusive studies showing a rise in dissociative personality disorders. So for the time being, this explanation is just going to have to be inconclusive until I can find better evidence. A fourth explanation, altered sociological landscape based on increasing religious pluralism. The United States is becoming more religiously pluralistic with every passing year. You are more and more likely to share a community with someone that differs from you religiously. So it's possible that we are seeing some sort of anxiety between religious communities. To put it bluntly, Christians may be exorcising their Wiccan or Vodou neighbor, or some sort of anxiety that there's demonic activity in your community because you're surrounded by people that are different from you. So there's my summary of Dr. Jason-Josephson-Storm's explanations for the possible rise in exorcisms in the United States. But I really encourage you to go check out the full interview. We not only talk about this research, but we also talk about secularization in the United States in general. You can find the interview right here, and you can also click on the link in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.
People have this notion that science has driven away all belief in ghosts and spirits in the industrialized West, if nowhere else. But it turns out